Now, the transfer window opens on Sunday. Arsenal are already close to making their first signing of the summer.
100 games as well. He's been very creative as well, 23 assists. When I watch him play, he slightly reminds me of Diego Costa. There's not necessarily like a very clean player there. It's sometimes a little bit rushed, sometimes a little bit bundled. But this guy has an incredible desire to score goals, and he's done so effectively this year. 38 goals in the Premier League alone. He helped Sporting win the league last year. They are level on points with Benfica at the top of the Premier League this year. They will win the title if they, beat Vitoria this weekend. Second successive title, winning mentality. He'd be a huge addition for Arsenal.
That's right, yeah, I think that's right. We can see Šeško in action here, scoring a fantastic goal against Bayern Munich on the break. And I think if you just look at the way he connects with this finish, the outside of his right boot, so much confidence and technique. I think we know that the talent and potential is there within Šeško. Career. Perhaps not the stratospheric goal-scoring numbers of someone like Gyökeres or some of the other top strikers. I mean, if you...
And Pete, the difference between Gyökeres and Šeško is Gyökeres has title-winning experience with Sporting CP. He is that little bit older, whereas Šeško feels like much more of a potential player.
I think that... let's talk about Arsenal, because they've got their eye on a couple of different strikers from Europe. And this man, well, everyone's talking about him, isn't he? Viktor Gyökeres. Could he be coming to the Emirates Stadium, do you think, this summer?
Quite possibly. There's been a number of reports that Arteta favours Benjamin Šeško, who Pete will talk about in just a few minutes' time. Andrea Berta, Arsenal's new sporting director, supposedly favours Viktor Gyökeres. Now, Andrea Berta has a reputation for bringing in tall, physical strikers into his previous club, Atletico Madrid, Diego Costa, Alexander Sørloth last summer, which is a transfer that's worked out really effectively. And it's no surprise that Arsenal and a number of clubs are looking at Viktor Gyökeres. There's a rumoured release clause of around £65 million, maybe just over. But Viktor Gyökeres' career has really taken off in the last few years after a slow start. And it is worth bearing in mind that at 26 he is a relatively late bloomer, but was on loan at Swansea, just one goal in 2021. But look, as soon as he got to Coventry, one season on loan there, and then really exploded. This campaign helped Coventry to the playoff final, where they lost to Luton on penalties. But since going to Sporting, 43 goals last season, 52 this year.
Edging closer to a deal for the Real Sociedad midfielder and former Liverpool target Martin Zubimendi. Our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokol, is here. This is an easy one to get over the line?
Well, I think Arsenal have put a lot of work into this deal. Look, Zubimendi is one of the best number sixes in the world. Lots of big clubs have been after him. Last summer, Liverpool tried very, very hard to sign him. Manchester City have been interested as a potential long-term replacement for Rodri. Clubs like Barcelona, Real Madrid have been in for him as well. But Arsenal, in the background, have been doing a lot of hard work. And we've basically known since January that the player himself had chosen to move to Arsenal this summer. Now, he's got a release clause in his contract at Real Sociedad, around £51 million. He feels very close to the club, his boyhood club. But I just think, without accusing Mikel Arteta of tapping anyone up, I just think Arsenal have presented something to him that is very difficult for him to turn down. And also, I think he really wants to work with Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta himself used to play for Real Sociedad. They both come from the same town as well. So I think he feels that Mikel Arteta is somebody who can help him develop and become an even better player. And I think, on paper, it is fantastic news for Arsenal fans because he's such a great player. If you remember in the final of the Euros, Spain, England in Berlin last summer, Rodri was injured. He replaced Rodri at half-time, came on in the second half. He looked absolutely brilliant. So I think it's a great bit of business for Arsenal. Obviously, all the paperwork needs to be completed. He needs to have his medical, but he will become an Arsenal player this summer.
Right, but every man and his dog is saying, hang on,
look to strengthen midfield,
they don't need a midfielder, they need a striker.
Forward as well.
Why haven't they prioritised a striker?
Options could come into
I think every man and his dog
play.
might be saying they need a striker, but every Arsenal fan will be saying we need a striker, but we need a midfielder as well. Because Jorginho is leaving. He announced that when his contract runs out next month, he will leave the club. We don't know what's going to be happening with Thomas Partey either, although Mikel Arteta has said he wants him to stay. But they do need a midfielder as well, and they're going to have a fabulous midfield next season. Odegaard, Declan Rice, Zubimendi. But you're right, they need a striker as well. They will sign a striker. They're in for players like Viktor Gyökeres at Sporting, Benjamin Sesko at Leipzig. But those are big, big deals to do. I think they may take a little bit more time. But if you're an Arsenal fan or if you're one man and his dog watching this, relax, chillax, Arsenal will sign a striker.
We'll remember that. Let's talk Tottenham.
And a very good striker as well.
Yeah, all right, let's talk Tottenham then. Obviously, they're in the Champions League next season, need to bolster the squad. So is there a chance they could lose Christian Romero?
50-50, I think. I think the fact that Spurs are now in the Champions League makes it more likely that he'll stay at the club. He put a rather cryptic message on social media, I think seeming to suggest that he was going to stay. He wants this story to continue. But he's got 2 years left on his contract. Atletico Madrid want to sign him. Diego Simeone comes from Argentina. He's won the World Cup with Argentina. Simeone wants him at Atletico. But the big problem is going to be price. Can Atletico really afford to pay what Spurs would be asking? I think Spurs would want at least 60, 70 million pounds for him. And he's got Champions League football now at Spurs, so why would he want to leave? And he's got a very good relationship with Ange Postecoglou as well. So I think before the Europa League final, maybe it was looking more likely that he would leave. I think now it looks a little bit more likely that he will stay.
All right, let's stay with Spurs. Yesterday we were talking about the fact that Leroy Sané was being offered to them. What's the latest on that?
The latest is, this is a real good old-fashioned transfer story, and we've got our colleagues at Sky Germany over this. Leroy Sané, his contract runs out at Bayern Munich. He wants a new contract. He's got a new agent. His new agent is the super agent, the one and only Pini Zahavi. Now, Pini Zahavi today was having lunch in Munich with the Bayern Munich sporting director, Max Ebel. And it just so happens that Sky Germany were there waiting outside. They got pictures of Pini Zahavi going inside for this crucial meeting. And I think at this meeting, Pini Zahavi would have said to Bayern Munich,